Hey, care partners. Welcome to Memory Care with Teresa Youngstrom. So glad you're here. This is a safe place to come and learn about what's going on with your loved one. Could be your spouse, could be your brother, could be your mom or dad. And dementia is a difficult topic because everybody's different and there's so many different diagnoses. And it's sometimes hard to get the same answer from two people, and we're still figuring it out. That's the problem. We're still figuring it out. Teepa Snow says if you met one person with dementia, well, you've met one person, and she's right because everyone's different. My mom was different. Not only was she different in her dementia, but she was different as a person. She was a very unique person, and so is your loved one. But then you add brain failure on top of it, and boy, things get even different. So we really need to come alongside and join them on the journey. And that's what I like to do here, provide you a place to come where you can learn and take these tools back. And hopefully they can apply to your loved one. Not everything applies because we're all different. But today we're going to spend time talking about what if. And the first what if I'm going to tell you about is what if mom calls the police and tells them you've stolen her car? I mean, we all figured, the family all got together. Talking about a client that I had. They all got together and decided mom shouldn't be driving anymore. And they told her not to drive. And she didn't do it. So they decided to take the car away. No, we hadn't talked about that yet because I think we would have tried some other things first, but they took the car away. And so she did call the police and she knew that they had removed it. She was sharp enough to know that, and she was bound determined to get them in trouble and get her car back. That's when they called me and said, "Now what do we do?" And actually it was the local EMS and fire who called me because they kept getting 911 calls from her saying that her car's been stolen, or people were not being nice to her, whatever. So I had to sit down with that family, and what we came up with was we were going to return the car. We were going to disable the car, but we were going to return the car. We did notify the police what was going on and that she did have some challenges. Family was involved. Family was coming in to help every day. She was able to be alone certain periods of time, but she didn't have the wherewithal to know that she was unsafe driving now. And so we did let her win that battle. You got to pick your battles, guys. And so just doing something rash like taking the car, I don't think it's the best idea. Everybody's different. We've already said that. And maybe your loved one was like, "Whatever, I don't even want the car anymore." Okay, maybe that would work. But a lot of the times, if you are dealing with someone who can't see their disease, that could be very difficult and very challenging. And I even think it's not fair. I really think we need to approach it differently. Um and see where they are on this. And I mean, there are times when we have to make really rash decisions and make changes for safety. But, really for a lot of the time, we can negotiate some things. And sometimes having that car in the garage, but maybe it's disabled. When I say disabled, that is an interesting word because disabled for some of you is different than disabled for others. You can just disable something like, I don't know, do they still have spark plugs? Anyway, you disable a cable or a battery cable. There you go. Take something off the battery and it's not going to start. But if you're dealing with someone who's a car person, or if they have a car person, that's not going to serve very well. There have been times we needed something more visible that the car couldn't be drive just yet. We make it a temporary thing, though. We don't tell her she can't drive forever. Oh, geez, mom, did you see that flat tire? Gosh, we're going to have to do something about that. I'll get someone over there. And, she might be okay with just that, but someone else, not going to be okay with that. I have to tell you that I had a gentleman when the family took the car, he just ordered another one and had it delivered. Okay. Because that was the relationship he had with his car dealer. And that happened. So they didn't, no steps forward on that one. No negotiation, no working out this with that individual. They did bring the car back, and, actually, the key that was hanging there was no longer the correct key. She never tried it. She was actually afraid to drive the car, but it was something about them just removing it, and they're her kids, and guess what? They'll always be her kids, and they're not smarter than the mom. And so in this particular situation, and every situation's different, taking the car away like that was not a good idea. What if mom refuses to do laundry and just has the caregiver buy a new pack of underwear every week? Well, nobody died. Can you afford that? So this lady literally was just throwing her underwear away. She did soil them a little bit, and she didn't like that, and she didn't want to be bothered wearing briefs or anything like that. And so, those are weird situations we have to talk about. Because I had a woman once that I was working with, and she said, "Here's the deal. If it gets to the point where he can't toilet himself, I'm out, and he's going to have to go stay somewhere." Okay, at least she knew her boundary. For some people, dealing with toileting, dealing with bathing, that's just beyond their capability. And guess what? Okay, you know, we're not all people wired to do personal hygiene or, clean up after someone who's messed up in the bathroom. There are people that can do that and others who can't. There are plenty of things I can't do. I can deal with the bathroom, I can deal with the shower. I could give my mother a bed bath. But there are plenty of things I can't do. So, what if she wants to just buy a new pack of underwear every week? Well, if she can afford the underwear, I vote for who cares? Let her have that. How about we pick our battles? Pick our battles carefully. Okay. And remember, our job really is to join this person on the journey and go with the flow. Now, to be honest, there was a woman we were transitioning into wearing a brief. Okay. Because she was having mistakes and it was getting on the furniture. It was just not good at all. We needed to make a different change. And so at that time, the daughter told her that she was unable to get to the laundry that day. And oh my gosh, mom, we just have these briefs. If you'll just wear one tonight, I'll get more tomorrow. And they did just go on and keep postponing buying the new underwear until she finally acclimated and started wearing the briefs, and it worked out. Will it always work out? Nope. Because these are people we're dealing with. You might have to go to a third plan or a fourth plan. Okay? Wish it was a perfect world, but it's just not. What if what if your loved one doesn't want to get out of bed any longer? And this actually happened to someone I was helping take care of. And sweet lady, confused, she had a lot of visual challenges. And so when you would roll her in the wheelchair across the carpet or across the flooring, she could get really upset by the carpeting had different designs in it, and she thought for sure she was falling in the cracks, and it was very dangerous, and it just worked her up into almost tears, and then it got to the point where she couldn't leave the house, and then she really just was very pleasant in her bed, and she got pretty stressed out when you wanted to take her out of the bed. um, so the caregiver started doing bed baths, and her skin was in great shape, and she had a TV in her bedroom, and her husband was a saint. And he allowed that, and he cared for her that way. And it wasn't just for 30 days. We're going on a couple of years now, and he's loving her along like that with care, with help. She gets great care. She's a happy camper, sings songs, but she's too afraid to get out of bed. I know for some of you, you're going, "That's crazy. I'd make her." Well, okay, but is that really what we want to do? Make them do this or that? Pick your battles. Everybody's different. Pick your battles. Your situation will be different. Your needs, your issues, what they will or won't do are going to be different. Okay. Um, what if the caregiver calls and says that mom's mad because they couldn't bring their car today and so she couldn't go to the store? So this happened. I got a call. Caregiver was furious. This was someone I was helping take care of, and not caregiver was furious. The resident, the woman, super neat lady, lived in a high rise. She was so amazing. When I first met her, um, I came in and I noticed that the smoke detector on the ceiling had a plastic bowl duct taped over the top of it. And I'm like, okay, mark that down. Apparently, she had been burning stuff on the stove for so long, and the alarms would go off, and the fire department would come, and it cost them so many $100s every time fire department came. And literally, that was their choice, just to put tape the bowl over the smoke detector. That was the patient's choice. Okay, so not a good thing. She definitely had some significant confusion, but this particular day I got a call because the caregiver's car was in the shop, and so she couldn't take her to the store. And I got on the phone with her and greeted her. Hey, Mary. I'll just say Mary. Mary, how are you? It's Teresa, the nurse. Yeah, so great. I know. What a beautiful day. Hey, how is little Georgie? That was her dog. I happen to know about Georgie, her love of her life. How was Georgie? Oh, he's the cutest thing. Does he still have that cute little blue collar? Oh man, he's the cutest little dog. The way you've got steps and he can get on your bed. Oh my goodness, he is special. Yeah, he is very special. Yeah, so things are good. Yeah, I hope to stop by Friday and see you. Um, and I hear her pull the phone away and say, "Why did we call her?" She had completely forgotten what she was mad about just because I led her down a different path. First she was furious. I apologized that, the caregiver didn't have a car today. And then I just led her to a happy place. You validate their position. I let her be mad and then de-escalated it, and then was able to redirect her to another place. Not rocket science, but it works real well. And it was but the bummer was that then the caregiver said to her, and I heard her say it, "You're mad because I can't take you to the store today because my car's in the shop." Yeah, what about blah, blah, blah? And I went, okay, so there's more teaching to be done. So, but anyway, so if you get a call like that, I need you to take a breath. You get the call and your loved one is mad about whatever, take a breath. It's brain failure. They probably don't understand something. There's probably some confusion in there. But in that moment, guess what? They think they're the smartest one in the world and you're not. And you need to be humbly listening and accepting what's going on and then be able to accept and agree and whatever they need. And you need to address them with the same amount of energy in your voice and everything, posture, everything needs to be like, "Are you kidding me? That happened? That isn't right. That's not supposed to happen." And to be able to then talk them off the ledge. And then before you can, walk them to another place. And so, but what you don't want to do is then throw them back in the into the anger by reminding them why they were mad. Okay, so learn to go with it. But you can do this. It's not rocket science. I just need you to first and foremost, because listen, this is the hardest thing to do because it's your own family. Hardest thing in the world because we dig our heel in. And I remember feeling like that. Mom started going off on me, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm taking my time to come over." And we can't do that. We have to take a breath, validate their position, get on their team, and do something to try and solve the situation. "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. No, I'm going to take care of that. Wow, you shouldn't have to do that." And with the right tone and body language, guys, the right tone and body language. You can't be rolling your eyes like, "Is this happening again?" And it will happen again. How many times? I don't know. Lots of times. It can happen lots of times. It's brain failure. It's a chronic, progressive, terminal disease. But guess what? Everybody gets something eventually. And I just hope someone will have patience with me, when I have whatever it is I'm going to have. So let's stay healthy. Let's eat right and exercise and drink your water and do what it takes to keep your brains healthy. But, we don't get out of here, alive or unscathed. And so I would humbly take a breath and try and validate, de-escalate, and redirect. Okay. Um, let's see. What if you're noticing some small mistakes and episodes of confusion with your loved one? Okay, so I would probably start journaling that. I probably would start dating in times and what actually happened. Two things. One is so I can see if it really is an issue and does it go on longer than, 4 days or or is this it really isn't an issue and it goes away. I don't know, they were sick, under the weather, I don't know, but it could be a variety of things or yes, it is something, and we need to start documenting some things so that when you do get to the doctor, you're able to give them a really good history and description of what they're doing, and so that they can make good decisions about what's going on and what's appropriate for the testing that's going to come and things like that. So I've had that situation go a couple of different ways. I had one woman who journaled, and after a week, you know what? He stopped doing anything like that. He stopped making those mistakes and it went away. Was it a virus? Was it? I don't know. Um, but I've had other ones where they collected a bunch of information, made the appointment to see the medical doctor first to rule out what's treatable. You've heard me say that. What's treatable? UTI is treatable. Maybe they're hard of hearing. Maybe they're just not hearing the conversation and then they can't retain it. Is it a thyroid issue? It can be other things. It can be a cancer. It can be other things. But good documentation will help the physician rule out what's treatable so that we can get on to, geriatrician, neurologist, to someone who knows more about dementias, who specializes in dementias, and then can do more testing so they can narrow down what's actually going on. And so that if there is medicine that might apply, that we might be able to try, but that there are always great techniques that we should start to try and start to implement, okay, to join this person on their journey if it is a true brain failure. All right. What if I missed one in there? We did the police. I guess what if your mom throws you out of the blankety blank house? You know that happened to me. And at the time I was too far in. I couldn't turn her around at that moment. I couldn't reconcile it right then because guess what? I didn't have any tools to turn that around. I had no, yeah, there was no way I could turn that around. I had no tools to be able to do that. And so at the time, I just told her I was sorry and I left when she threw me out of the blankety blank house. But that isn't the time to retaliate, to throw back, to let them know you're giving of your time, and yeah, none of that. I just humbly want to step back and apologize and then regroup. Sometimes you upset someone, maybe you care for someone and you startled them, not meaning to, and they flipped out, called you everything that they shouldn't. And maybe you're able to apologize and back out. I'm so sorry. What was I thinking? Sometimes a good I'm sorry, a sincere I'm sorry can go a long way to reconcile things. And oh, I'll take 10 more minutes. I'm going to go get your coffee ready. I know how you love it. I'll put 2 creamers in it, 1 sugar. I'll be back. I'm so sorry I upset you. And so sometimes we can save the moment like that. Do you know there are times when we just have to change caregivers? And then a particular caregiver didn't work for a particular resident or client, and it just didn't work out. And so we needed to make that change. Um, those are hard things. Finding the best caregivers, say if you're at home and you're hiring in caregivers, it can be really hard. Um, but there's so many things that we can help teach folks so that it will work out and they can come alongside and help this person. Maybe if you need to bring in a caregiver, but your person doesn't think they need caregivers. Okay, well, maybe they're coming in to just clean. Maybe they're coming in just to we had a young man who came in to help this gentleman, and he just told him he needed service hours. He needed volunteer hours at school, and boy, it'd be really great if this he could come in and help him with some things like sorting out nuts and bolts and in his toolbox or his fishing gear, whatever, helping him to organize those things. And those you're thinking, wow, I never thought of that, but what a great activity. Nobody feels like they're being cared for. My mother was never gonna let someone come in and care for her. You weren't gonna have that conversation. And I've told you before that we told her, the help was coming in for dad because he was older, and of course, he was sharp as a tack. But, she bought that, and that's all we needed, and, the person was able to come in. But I wouldn't have that person come in first day and shower them. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would maybe have that person come in and do some tasks and, get start developing a relationship with your loved one first. And not maybe you're there the first few times they come and yeah, develop a relationship. Y'all sit and have a cup of tea together or something or eat lunch and talk about things and get to know one another and not just go for she needs a shower first thing. I don't know. It doesn't. I just want you to play your cards right. And, I know there's better care and worse care in certain places. I really want you to have the best care. I want your loved one to have the best care. I wanted my mom to have the best care. And that's why I do this today, to be able to share information, things that I've been through, mistakes that I've made, with you so that when your loved one needs this kind of help, you'll have the tools. And, remember, guys, it's not a race. It is a journey, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. You're gonna need help when you're caring for someone. You are, gonna need a team of help, usually, and that's okay. You're gonna have to get away completely and get a break, all right? We'll have to figure out how to do that. It can be done. Um, I usually like keeping the person that has brain change in their own home and bring help in if you're going to leave them, then moving their location to say respite temporarily. Not everyone agrees. That's okay. But what I've seen is every time we change their location, things spiral down. And unfortunately, at the respite, they've got to keep control. And so that you might find 3 medications on board when you come back, and your person is not the same person when you left. Okay. So I would work on bringing help into their space if you can. If we got to go to plan B, then maybe we have a caregiver, a familiar person, maybe come up with a schedule of familiar people to visit them while they're in respite. And somebody comes one day and they, you know, I don't know, they crochet or do whatever she loves to do, or maybe they push her through, the park next door or something. Just think out of the box. It's okay to think out of the box. It's really okay. There was a woman at a community who didn't think she needed to be there. They were trying just to keep her in assisted living. Of course, that was a space that didn't have a locked door, and she looked pretty good. And in the evening, when she'd get more confused, she'd make her way to the door and file out with some other people. And she got out probably 3 times in a busy part of town. That that was not out in the country anywhere, which that wouldn't be really safer, would it? So. What we ended up doing in the evening is we brought a caregiver in dressed in regular clothes, and, she would walk over to the woman, and we just did this. She had no short-term memory, so we did this over and over and over again, and the caregiver would say, "Hi, my name is Shelley. I'm new here. This looks like a pretty great place, but I don't really know, my way around. Is there a beauty shop somewhere? Is there a dining room?" And, this woman would be sitting in the lobby every evening, and there was that risk that she was gonna escape. And so, this woman we knew had been some type of a tour guide, or she had given tours at a museum or something in her history. So this worked perfectly. So when the caregiver would ask if she could kind of get a tour of the place, the woman was, absolutely, it gave her purpose. And so she'd hop up and give this gal a tour for the next hour, hour and a half until she was really tired. And honestly, then she was ready to go up to bed, and she wasn't looking for the exit. She wasn't exiting anymore. And so you see how you can get creative with caregivers. You can, come up with great situations to keep the peace. Don't remove the car if you don't have to. Disable it. If disabling's a problem, then we'll have to go to take a different step. Maybe this one situation, grandpa loved that grandson and they let him borrow the car. It all appeared temporary, but the car wasn't there. And so grandpa didn't find the need to. And when he asked about it, Bobby's got the car. It looks like he'll be done with it this weekend. Boy, does he love you, and he appreciates you letting him use the car. Eventually, they frequently quit asking. All right. It eventually doesn't become the highest priority and they quit asking. Not always, but eventually. But your situation's going to be different. You are going to have to come up with ways to accommodate your loved one respectfully, humbly, and joining them on their journey. That's what it's all about. I know it seems so stressful at times. Obviously, you need help. You either need to bring help or we need to find a place where they can get help. You know what? There's no perfect answer. Okay. There's no perfect answer, but we don't let it take you down. Don't let the process, if it's too much for you, then we have to bring in help or they have to go somewhere. Bottom line. All right, everybody. It's been great seeing you for tonight. I'm Teresa Youngstrom. My company's A Better Approach to Memory Care. This is our podcast, Memory Care with Teresa Youngstrom. This broadcast is all made possible because of Griffo Productions, and we couldn't be out here without them. And so, thank you for being here. Take your time, pace yourself, take a breath, and just keep in mind, you got this.